favorites and the awarding of the 2024 Businesswoman of the Year presented by Bank of America. The Executive Luncheon Series is presented by Piedmont Augusta. To register, visit ColumbiaCountyChamber.com.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
A final goodbye for the young woman killed at the University of Georgia. Plus, closing arguments underway right now that could completely change Georgia's 2020 election interference case. We'll have all of that and more for you coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it has been a rainy day, and that rain continues to fall across our area to finish off an overcast and dreary Friday. We're heading now to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. So when can we expect the rain to go away, Riley?
It's looking better by the weekend, Laura, but I would
We now have a name for a Grovetown man hit and killed by a train on Washington and Baston roads yesterday. The sheriff's office says 66-year-old Dwayne Carter was crossing the tracks to go around the railroad gates when he was hit by a CSX train. City Hood is live in our newsroom. So, Sydney, break down what's new today. What have we learned about how this happened?
The sheriff's office says they have no reason to believe he was doing this on purpose, and this is believed to be an accident. It happened at a busy intersection. Cars travel through this area daily. Businesses are on both sides of Washington and Baston Road, so a good amount of people either saw or heard about this horrible accident. No one wanted to talk about it on camera today, but as you can imagine, people in that area are extremely upset about this. Several of the businesses I stopped by today say they frequently saw Carter on his bike in that area. Now, the sheriff's office told us they are still working on a report and will have more details once it's complete.
All right, thanks for staying on that for us, Sydney. Just a horrible case. That young student that we mentioned that was found dead last Thursday on the campus of the University of Georgia, her accused killer is behind bars. Law enforcement officers were lined up outside of the church today, making sure the family had privacy as they laid her to rest. As Adam Murphy shows us, Laken Riley had a large number of friends, and many of them paid their respects today in her hometown of Woodstock.
On a cold, somber day, mourners gathered at Woodstock City Church for the funeral services for Laken Riley. The family requested a private ceremony with no cameras allowed on church property, and law enforcement officers surrounded the grounds to ensure privacy.
This is all about family and friends, and we all come together for one another whenever there's a time of need. And so this is that time of need, so that's what we're going to do.
The 22-year-old nursing student was killed last week as she was jogging near Lake Herrick on the campus of the University of Georgia. Her tragic story garnered international headlines after police arrested Jose Ibarra, charging him with Riley's murder. He's a citizen of Venezuela who, according to federal authorities, illegally crossed the southern border in 2022.
No matter how tragic this event was, that love is the only way to heal and get people together and move forward.
In Riley's hometown of Woodstock, even those who didn't know her are mourning her death.
We didn't know the family or the girl, but we know the story, and it really touched us, and we really would like the family to know that, people are thinking about you.
The lead pastor at Woodstock City Church said, when the world loses someone like Laken, whose light consistently shines so bright, it seems that much darker in their absence. Laken was special. She was a gift to anyone who knew her.
It's an absolute tragedy for the family, and I hate it for them. I hate that they're going through this. I'm praying for them.
During the service, the pastor said the most special thing about Laken was her faith, and they're hopeful she's now in the presence of her Savior. In Atlanta, summary arguments are over in the investigation into whether District Attorney Fonnie Willis and her special prosecutor and whether they will be disqualified from their investigation and indictment into former President Donald Trump. Willis issued dozens of indictments in August accusing Trump and his allies of trying to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. But now Willis is facing allegations she misused taxpayer funds and crossed ethical boundaries during her romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. The judge overseeing this says he will make a decision within the next 2 weeks. Bond is set for a woman accused of a deadly DUI crash that killed a newlywed bride in Folly Beach. 26-year-old Jamie Komorowski is accused of hitting a golf cart back in April of last year, killing Samantha Miller and injuring her husband and 2 others just hours after they got married. Her blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit, and she was speeding at the time of the crash, according to court documents. Last fall, a judge ruled that Komorowski would stay in jail until March 1st when the prosecution said the case could go to trial, but that seems to no longer be the case. So today, a judge granted her a $150,000 bond. She also has several conditions she must meet, including wearing a GPS monitor, and she is on house arrest. Another bond requirement for her is that she has to wear a scram monitor that can detect the wearer's blood alcohol levels through sweat. Back in August, when these bond conditions were set, there was a lot of attention on what scram monitors are and how they work.
In layman's terms, a breathalyzer for your ankle.
So Lindsay Lohan made these quite famous. We refer to them as the Lindsay Lohan anklet.
It's a fairly sophisticated device and virtually impossible to tamper.
Scram monitors are rarely used in South Carolina, despite being around since the early 2000s. This is even though South Carolina has the second highest rate of alcohol-impaired driving deaths per 100 million miles driven in the country, only behind Montana, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden in Atlanta right now trying to rally women to re-elect the president. It's no secret Georgia is a key battleground state in the November election. The First Lady is making stops in Atlanta as well as Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. The White House says that in each state she is meeting with women to discuss what's at stake for them and the pivotal role the Biden-Harris administration is playing in protecting women's rights. Some bills in Georgia now have no chance of becoming a law, at least this session. Just ahead, we're going to break down what bills still have a chance after crossover day.
And we are going to continue to see this rain stick around tonight, early tomorrow morning, but most of the weekend is trending drier. We'll have that full forecast just after the break.
Governor Brian Kemp also signed the mid-year budget into law yesterday, which includes billions for infrastructure and roads projects, as well as millions for upgrades to the state's jails and prisons. A Georgia mom struggling with thousands of dollars in parking citations says none of them belong to her. Instead, they're all from a person in another city hundreds of miles away. We'll get to the bottom of this coming up. A single mom in Georgia at wit's end because of hundreds of parking citations that keep showing up at her doorstep. The only problem is they're all coming from a parking deck in Miami, and she lives in Atlanta. As Harry Sandler explains, it's all because of a car she sold years ago.
This is crazy.
Elfrida Parks can't explain it. She sits before a mountain of debt, piles of $87 violations, stating she didn't pay to park on private property.
I don't need this extra stress. You know, I've got my own stress.
Elfrida is a single mom who works in Atlanta, but the violations are coming from a private parking deck. In downtown Miami, the deck uses surveillance and a parking enforcement company to bill people who don't pay. Every violation shows a red Chevy Equinox with a Florida tag.
I even would email and say, boot the car. Then the real owner will show up.
Hang on. Zoom into the car's bumper. That is a sticker from a Chevy dealership in Conyers. That's Elfrida's old car.
$87. Oh, I forgot this. Don't laugh. This is not funny. Come on.
She bought the car new. However, she traded it in 2 years ago. The enforcement company, Parking Revenue Recovery Services out of Denver, erroneously traced the car back to Elfrida instead of the car's current registered owner. We know this because the Florida's Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles told us so. It appears the parking company software may be outdated since this vehicle has not been in Ms. Park's possession since 2022.
That's the thing. I've even tried calling the mayor of Miami.
She received the first violation in September, so she complained to the Better Business Bureau and it stopped, but then it started up big time. Packets loaded with $87 violations.
Do you have any idea how many of these you have?
The alleged Miami parking deck violator ran up the tab. It felt like we counted for days.
Can you hold on a second? Can I use your bathroom?
Yeah, just follow the trail.
Elfrida knows what she'd like to do with the citations. We counted 292.
292 times
$87
equals. Just take a wild guess, or did you already see? You owe $25,000.
If you remove the duplicates, the real total is $10,764. That includes a $585 convenience fee. The first thing Atlanta News First Investigates did was notify the parking deck manager, and the next day, Elfrida's old car got towed. Then we contacted Parking Revenue Recovery Services for an explanation. And here's their response. We have removed you for all of the notices and put the new owner information in our system as of yesterday. In other words, she's off the hook.
I must say that I'm relieved. Now, all of these bills are over.
Discard the citations, Elfrida. Your new balance is zero.
Hey, where's the toilet paper?
Use the invoices.
The Parking Revenue Recovery Service says this was the perfect storm, and they did apologize. They say all of the emails Ms. Parks was sending them accidentally went into a deleted file. As for the person who actually parked there, did they have to pay that bill? Well, that's another story. Apparently, the car's current owner paid for a monthly space and provided proof. So none of those tickets were legit.
Glad she was off the hook for that. That would have been an astronomical bill. Hey, if you got a tea time tomorrow, early tea times could be impacted by some rain, but later into the day it does look dry. Have another quick look at that 7-day just after the break.
It's Mark.
It is March, and that means cities like Columbia are going green for St. Patrick's Day, a yearly tradition in the capital city. It's turning the 5 Points Fountain green. There were also live performers and vendors there for the crowds. Tonight at 7, the city of Savannah also turning green, with several locations around the city turning those green lights on for the holiday. St. Patrick's Day is on Sunday this year, March 17th, but many cities, including Augusta, will hold parades the day before. So sure to be a good time for all. On the weekend, it gets a little dicey in Savannah when St. Patrick's Day is on a weekend.
This is a big weekend for St. Pat's down in Savannah. So, yeah, as you just mentioned, St. Pat's on a Sunday, but they are going to hold the parade on a Saturday there in Savannah. So that is definitely party time down there in Squares. And it is also the first day of meteorological spring. So March 1st, happy spring to you. Doesn't really feel like it out there. We got temps in the 40s. Rain's been falling all day long. Cloudy skies, wet outside. Have a look at a better weekend forecast for you in just about 10 minutes.
Developing this evening, a Thomas Jefferson High Academy student athlete is dead after an accident last night. That's according to social media posts made today by Academy officials. There's already a growing memorial in the school's parking lot, and we have Nick Veland with the latest.
Friends of Carter Gay gathered at the Thomas Jefferson Academy's parking lot to lay flowers and lower the flag to remember someone they said always had a smile on his face. Carter Gay was number 53 on the football team, a member of the shotgun team. More importantly, those closest to him say his smile was infectious. A memorial dedicating flowers, a Bible, shotgun shells, and Monster Energy put together at Thomas Jefferson Academy as those paid their respects to Carter. He may be gone, but two friends say he'll never be forgotten.
Definitely whenever I shoot shotgun, I shoot for a team out of Augusta, so definitely just remembering him, and the impact he had on our shotgun team as well as the football team, because we were both cheerleaders, so we got to watch him play on Friday night.
Personality being in the school just made it feel better.
And coming up all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I'll have more on Carter Gay's legacy. 3, 2, 1.
Sorry for those additional comments at the end. We just had a little technical difficulty, but our thoughts are certainly with that family. A man is dead and 5 others are hospitalized after a crash involving an ambulance in Aiken. The Aiken County coroner says this happened around 10:20 this morning on Hitchcock Parkway, Northwood Drive. 33-year-old Isaiah Johnson was traveling east when the coroner says he crossed the center line and hit an Aiken County EMS ambulance that was traveling west. 2 EMS workers and a patient were inside the ambulance. All 3 were hospitalized. Highway Patrol says a 3rd vehicle was involved in the crash and 2 people from that vehicle were hospitalized, all 5 with injuries. The investigation into what happened is still happening. The city of Aiken has seen a massive spike in homelessness in recent years. A point-in-time count last month shows more than 150 people are homeless right now, compared to just 21 they were able to count in 2019. Now, one of Aiken's only shelters is struggling to stay open because of a lack of funding and community support.
Well, if we don't have the support, then that means more and more people are struggling more and more, and that just leads to more problems.
All new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, Taylor Martin breaks down how the city of Aiken is responding. A Harlem high school teacher is apologizing after being placed on administrative leave. It comes after a recording posted to social media showed her using inappropriate language during class. The letter from teacher Jennifer Scroviz says she understands her behavior was unacceptable and allowed her temper to get in the way of learning. The school district says it is currently investigating what happened. Tomorrow is the funeral for Damon Parrish. The Augusta man authorities say was murdered last month. He went missing in early January in Augusta, and his body was found February 17th in a wooded area of Aiken County. An autopsy shows he was shot in the head. Tomorrow, his friends and family will come together to say goodbye. Finney and Son Funeral Home announced his service is happening tomorrow at 11 in the morning. It'll be the Truth Church of Augusta on Windsor Spring Road. Just in the last couple of hours, we learned 22-year-old Caleb White has been extradited to Richmond County, where he's being charged with murder in connection to that death. He was arrested earlier this week in North Augusta and was being held in Aiken County until today. They're small, easy to make, and out of control. South Carolina authorities are raising the alarm over Glock switches. They're the size of a nickel, hard to spot, and can turn a semi-automatic weapon to fully automatic.
They can pretty much expel about 30 rounds of ammunition in under 2 seconds. Typically, those individuals that possess these are very inexperienced shooters, and the firearms that they are inserted into really aren't designed for that type of firepower.
Glock switches are illegal, but that's not stopping the rise authorities are seeing across the Palmetto State and beyond. The ATF reports authorities seized 63 Glock switches in South Carolina last year, but that number could be a lot higher since local law enforcement agencies are not required to give the ATF a heads up if they find one. Also, a lot of times the devices are so small or hard to spot, they go unnoticed. Authorities say it starts with responsible gun ownership.
It's not just a situation where we can simply arrest our way out of the problem. We've got to do a lot of other things to get in front of these issues.
Law enforcement officers are trained to know what to look for with Glock switches. Getting caught with one could result in a prison sentence of up to 10 years. Doctors are calling it the silent killer because this disease can progress without you even being aware. Just ahead, how you can keep an eye out for the signs.
And we're keeping those rain chances around tonight and at least the first part of our Saturday morning, but looking better for the weekend. We'll have that full forecast next.
Time and date.
Today kicks off National Kidney Month. An estimated 37 million people have chronic kidney disease, and most of them don't even know they have it. In fact, a person can lose up to 60% of their kidney function before noticing any health problems at all. Manny Gaither has more on how to keep your kidneys healthy and explains why knowing your risk factors is critical.
It's known as a silent killer because many people with chronic kidney disease don't feel sick until it progresses to an advanced stage.
Oftentimes people don't develop symptoms until very late in the course of their disease.
That's why Dr. Griffin Rogers says knowing your risk factors is so important. Those include conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, a family history of kidney disease, and heart disease. If you have one or more of these conditions, ask your doctor to test you for kidney disease.
There are 2 simple tests. One is a blood test to determine how well your kidneys are filtering the blood, and the second test is a urine test to see whether there's any protein in the urine, which could be another indication that that filtering process is somehow altered.
Rogers says early detection allows for earlier intervention that can help slow the disease's progression, but research is currently being done to better diagnose and treat it.
Ultimately, we'd like to reverse the disease and, in fact, even cure the disease.
You can also help keep your kidneys healthy by being active, choosing healthier foods, getting adequate sleep, not smoking, and limiting alcohol. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
You can also protect your kidneys by preventing or managing health conditions that cause kidney damage, such as diabetes and high blood pressure, and see a doctor right away if you develop a urinary tract infection, which can cause kidney damage if it's left untreated. Happening today and throughout the weekend, the downtown Aiken Springs sidewalk sale is ready for your business. Sellers have everything you might want, from decor and furniture to jewelry and clothing. Some stores are also mentioning discounts. That event ends tomorrow. Again, it's all happening in downtown Aiken. The Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta donating thousands of boxes of cookies today to say thank you to U.S. service members. The Girl Scouts and United Service Organizations are sending about 130,000 boxes of Thin Mints and Samoas to men and women in the military and their families who are traveling through Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport today.
Well, if someone steals your Facebook account, is there anything you can do to get it back? I'm Jamie Tucker. Coming up, we're going to answer that question, and I'll explain how easy it is to download everything you've ever uploaded to Facebook and Instagram.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
It's March!
If you've ever had a hacker steal your Facebook account, you know the headache of trying to get it back. A recent survey estimated 300,000 Facebook accounts are hacked every single day. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker shows us what you can do to save your information.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
And this is a question I get more than any other. The latest from a viewer: is there anything you could point me in the direction of recovering my Facebook that has been taken over? They changed my password, birthday, advertising Taylor Swift tickets that I've never had. Help, please. And you're not going to like the answer, but once a thief gets your username and password, they have control of your Facebook page, and there's very little hope that you will ever get it back. Your best bet then is to start a new Facebook page.
But what about all those photos, friends, posts you've gathered over the years? Well, if you take...
If you've ever had a hacker steal your Facebook account, you know the headache of trying to get it back. A recent survey estimated 300,000 Facebook accounts are hacked every single day. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker shows us what you can do to save your information.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
And this is a question I get more than any other. The latest from a viewer: is there anything you could point me in the direction of recovering my Facebook that has been taken over? They changed my password, birthday, advertising Taylor Swift tickets that I've never had. Help, please. And you're not going to like the answer, but once a thief gets your username and password, they have control of your Facebook page, and there's very little hope that you will ever get it back. Your best bet then is to start a new Facebook page.
But what about all those photos, friends, posts you've gathered over the years? Well, if you take action now, you can save it. You just need to download your Facebook information. You're going to find that option in Facebook settings, in privacy, on a computer, and then look for your Facebook information. From there, you can copy everything to Google Photos or Dropbox. I also suggest you download everything onto a computer and download it as a JSON file. Now, this type of file can be imported into a new Facebook account if you ever need to start over. Now, depending on how much you have on Facebook, it may be a day or more before getting an email with the file. You will need to click on it soon because it does expire after 4 days.
If you're very active on Facebook, this is something you'll want to do every few months, at least every year, because it is much easier to save your stuff than to retrieve your account. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
You'll also get the option to download all of your Instagram photos so they won't be lost if your account is hacked. You can go to our website, wrdw.com, for a step-by-step walkthrough of what Jamie Tucker explained. South Carolina students are putting their aviation skills to the test, and there's $2,000 in flight school credits on the line. Avicom is a new competition for students taking aviation or aerospace classes. The best scoring student in simulated flight, airman knowledge, and aircraft recognition gets the prize. The prize is, well, pretty exciting, but while the students are not actually going in the air, the simulations are made to make it feel as real as possible.
When you're under a competitive environment, it adds a level of stress. Well, when you're a pilot in a plane, there's a level of stress. You're way up there. You know, if things go wrong, you can't freak out. You have to be able to manage your emotions and manage your crew and get your plane to safety.
And there are no cell phones or connection to the outside world during the competition, so students have to rely on what they've learned. This year's competition, which wrapped up yesterday, ended in a tie between two students, so they both get the flight credit, I assume, as the prize, so pretty exciting competition. After 20 years, one of the most decorated high school basketball coaches in Augusta is retiring. News 12 Sports Director Dan Booth joins us now to shine a spotlight on the winning legacy of Kim Schlein.
For 2 decades, head coach Kim Schlein helped transform the Cross Creek girls basketball team into a dominant force on the court. Back in 2021, Schlein led the Lady Razorbacks to win their first state championship in program history. In her 20 years at the Creek, they made 16 appearances in the state tournament, advanced to the state Elite 8 5 times, and made 1 trip to the state Final Four, which of course resulted in that 2021 state title. We'll hear from Coach Schlein on News 12 at 6 o'clock. We have a loaded high school basketball schedule this weekend. 3 of our teams from right here in Augusta are competing in the state semifinals. And on top of that, 2 of our other local teams are playing for state championships. The GHSA Class 2A State Final Four is being held at Georgia College and State University this year. At 11 a.m. this Saturday, the Josie Lady Eagles will take on Central Macon, with the winner advancing to the girls' state title game. All 3 of Josie's wins in the playoffs have been by at least 17 points. Right after that game ends at 3 o'clock, the Butler Bulldogs will have who have worn that title of being road warriors this season, especially in the playoffs, like a badge of honor, have a date with Toombs County. The Bulldogs came into the season as a top 5 ranked team in the state, and they're playing at their very best right now when it matters the most. And the winner of that game will face the winner of Westside's game against Columbia. The 2-time defending state champs will have just obliterated the competition to this point, bringing them 2 wins away from pulling off a three-peat. The finale of this marathon of games should be a lot of fun when Westside and Columbia hit the court at 7 o'clock. In addition to all of those state semifinals, Denmark Olar's girls basketball team is going to face Lakeview for the Class 1A crown in South Carolina. That game will be played in Florence at 10 a.m. Then at 3 o'clock, the Briarwood girls team will go head-to-head with Piedmont Academy in the GIAA Class 2A state championship over at Columbus State University.
All right, thanks for covering those games for us, Dan, and best of luck to our local teams. If you're not a fan of the cold weather today, the good news is the long-term outlook does show temperatures getting back above average. Have a look at those in the 7-day just after the break.
Want to instantly look more?
Today kicks off a Shamrocks in the Park scavenger hunt. This is video from a couple of years ago. You can take your family to the Savannah Rapids Park and look for hidden shamrocks while learning interesting facts along the way. When you turn in your checklist at the Visitor Center, kids get a St. Patrick's themed prize. This goes until March 16th. It runs Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4. Great idea to do with the family, Riley.
Absolutely. Looks like a great time. And hey, we got great weather this weekend if you want to get outside and go check that out. And hopefully you do find some shamrocks. Here's a live look outside.